Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and we're going to talk about international legionnaires in Ukraine. All right, so link below. There's a fantastic video. It's almost an hour long, and it is an international legionnaire talking to Lindybeige. Lindybeige has an amazing channel. I highly, if you're not familiar with him, definitely check out his stuff. He's amazing. He's really a historian who puts kind of the hot sauce on the taco of his history work by kind of essentially running experiments and doing practical research through tabletop role-playing games, right? So he's used his history knowledge to make some tabletop role-playing games better, and he's used tabletop role-playing games to kind of experiment with historical concepts. He's a really fascinating guy. But he, just like me, got incredibly interested in the Ukraine-Russian war, right? When Russia completely unjustifiably invaded Ukraine. And the horrors that, Vladimir Putin has subjected the Ukrainian people. I think all good humans decry what he's doing. And it's horrible, right? And this guy that Lindybeige interviewed is an international legionnaire. Now, that's something I'm incredibly interested in because literally 3 days after the war erupted, I went right over to my wife and said, I'd like to be an international legionnaire and I want to go to Ukraine, like tomorrow. And she was like, heck to the no. So y'all can laugh at me for my wife for me not being an international legionnaire because my wife told me no, right? But if you are laughing at me, you'd better have 30 years of marriage under your belt. Because if you don't, I'm laughing right back at you. So if you do have 30 years of being together with your loved one, then you do get to legitimately laugh at me. But if you don't, I'm defeating you in love. So until you're there, maybe check that laughter, right? So what's really fascinating is Lindybeige did this interview with this international legionnaire. And he said a lot of things that shocked me. This is just one. He said, well, when you get there, right, you're hoping that you're going to serve with, good Ukrainian soldiers and fellow allied international legionnaires. But you know what? One, you got to watch out for Russian spies. And I was like, whoa, like literally embedded Russian spies pretending to be international legionnaires. I was like, ooh, yeah, that sounds super dangerous, right? Like that could be really bad, right? And then he said, and then also you got to watch out for thieves. So in the International Legionnaire, we would get people who wanted to go on the rob. Great term. Go on the rob, right? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, people would people would come, and I was like, what would you steal? Like everything's destroyed and there's mortars everywhere, right? And he said something really fascinating, and he said, here's the thing. I actually thought about it. He didn't even explain why thieves were showing up in the International Legionnaire, but I just need to think about it for 30 seconds. Oh my gosh, people are leaving their houses and they're leaving everything. They're leaving cash, they're leaving gold, they're leaving antiques, they're leaving weapons, they're leaving tons and tons and tons of super valuable stuff, right? Which is really fascinating, right? And so I was like, whoa, yeah, that's really interesting. Very interesting, right? And so what does this have to do with you as a dungeon master? Well, if you Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition dungeon master, the cool kind, right? Then you run in Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen to just drop right now, right? And guess what? It's all about war, right? And the whole book talks about confusion, right? So the reality is your player characters are dropping in as these, really exciting heroes. But, Takesis, Tiamat, correction there, Margaret Weiss, is definitely going to send spies, right? Like spies from different nations, from Abyssinia and from all these other areas of Kryn. Right? So you got to watch out for spies, and you got to watch out for thieves. People who have come to the battlefield to literally steal gold rings off the corpses, right? And so you don't really know if the people to your right and you're an adventurer, and you know your party, right? But you don't know the person to your right. Are they a Tiamat spy, or are they going on the rob, right? And that is fascinating. So I would really encourage you, as you look to run Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen well, the best place to figure out how to do that is by watching the Ukrainian-Russian war, right? And because there's IRL, real-life occurrences that will put a really fantastic grittiness on your Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen campaign. All that's my humble opinion. I'm very eager to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.